Hey, Chris with Superfly here. Today we're going to talk about kiting and when you fall down, otherwise get out of control kiting, and how that can train you to be better at recovering from stalls and spins. Check it out. Morning, it's Chris with Superfly, and we're here with some new kiting drills for you. In this particular occasion, we want to talk about two really important things. Number one, what happens when you're kiting and you fall down? How do you play it? The very coolest thing about this ever is that when you master this, then the likelihood that you'll aggravate a stall or spin one day in your flying life when you have a malfunction goes way down. The idea is that we're all monkeys. We all respond poorly when we're out of equilibrium. And so that happens when you fall down, completely out of equilibrium, and your monkey tells you to use your hand to push and get back up. Your monkey tells you to brace. Your monkey tells you to do a lot of things. A lot of those things aren't right for paragliding. So they have to be learned, they have to be trained. And we're just thrilled that we figured out that when we have a carpet here and we can get this day 2 student to practice some fall down drills and how to recover, then when we're out there in the big bad world, or if he has a funny launch where he ends up sitting down, then instead of doing what's instinctual, he'll do what's clever for the glider. So our mantra is be more like a monkey and be more like a bird. That's the jam. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, Austin, come on over. Some of our favorite ones to start with are just drop to one knee really slow. Good. Remember, this is day 2. Austin's a champion, but this is also pretty amazing. Go ahead and drop to 2 knees. Good. All right, and now we're gonna use the brakes and a little help like this to come back up onto your feet. Cool. So already bring your eyes to the horizon. That already teaches Austin that if he ever falls down to a knee, or if he ever wants to sink down to a knee, that the hands don't need to go down to get you back up. All you have to do is fly the glider, right?
Yep.
So walk forward to the front of the carpet. Good, let's drop down to the knees. Perfect. Remember, you're kind of trying to keep your glider awareness up. That's gonna start to be the important part here, right? Okay. Now what we want you to do is to fall off to the right. Yep, you're gonna end up falling down on the ground. Now I just want you to look at the glider and give it what it needs. So hands stay relaxed. And this is it right here. This is the drill. Let your legs relax. Perfect. So if it ever happened to Austin that he falls down while he's kiting, all he's gonna do is look up at that glider and find a way to give it just exactly what it needs. You wouldn't want to try to set it down. No, not when you're on the ground. If you pull a bunch of brake right here, you're gonna get dragged for real. One of the things that we would learn about fall down, there comes a point when you need to let go of the brakes. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let go of the brakes. The glider's over here on its tip. Find a way, use your hands to stand, find a way to stand up. Because you let go of the brakes, now you can be a monkey. You can get yourself back on your feet. And why don't you turn and face it at your earliest option? Turn and face the glider, please. As you come up, turn and face it. Come on, turn and face me. Good, perfect. Because once you do that, you're a lot more athletic, right?
Okay.
Cool, let's have you sit down like this. Go ahead and just sit down all the way, yeah. So let's just do 2 fingers here, 2 fingers here. You're again reminded that it's about the glider. And you wouldn't put your hand down if you felt like you were gonna tip, would you? And you kind of keep your feet right out in front of you so that if the glider pulls this way, it's gonna pull you back up onto your feet.
Right, okay.
In fact, let's try it. A little pull this way. This glider might not pull enough. There might not be enough wind. Kind of keep it square above head. Here we go. Cool, perfect. So that's what the glider would do to you if it was a little windier, little bigger glider. You could use the glider to get yourself back on your feet if that happened. Let's go back down. You're doing amazing, by the way. Let's go to the butt. Good. And now we want you to fall off to the side, this way. Perfect. So really fall over there, let your head touch the ground just about. Okay. So now you're flying the glider here. And so can you guys start to see why if this guy ever had a stall or a spin or a complicated thing happen while he was flying, first reaction would be to look at the glider and try to give it what it needs. And you would have some experience being completely out of equilibrium, but still being mindful of the glider. How sweet is that, right? Yeah. All right, so now you would have to probably let go with this hand. So we put the glider over here just a little, just so you can have a moment when you won't need this brake. Cool. Now use that hand to stand up. Don't use that, just use your hand. So you see there's a time when you have to use your hand, and during that time you damn well better let go of the brake. Right, exactly. Cool, let's go ahead and turn the face forward. Let go of everything. Cool, go ahead and walk forward. And now what we want you to do is sit down. Good. And then we got this extra harness here. This is kind of like your head pad. You can lean back and put your head on this guy. Perfect. So now take these brakes. And this is like a Soul Daddy experience that usually only happens to people years down the road and they're flying, right? But they just find a way to be on a dune or be hanging around at sunset somewhere, and they just find a way to fly that glider while lying down. Now, using the skills that we've given you, see if you can figure out a way to stand up. Remember, you have the option of letting go of the brake if you need to for a second. You can come right back to it. Fly the glider, be gentle. All right, cool. So probably good to turn and face it, don't you think? Perfect. Now grab however we've taught you. That would be like here, kind of primate style, yeah. Nice. All right, buddy, I can't think of another thing that we can do here that would prep you, but all I can say is let's come back and let's do this often, right? Sure. Yeah, and now when you're kiting and it's a high wind and I say, hey, get lower, you'll be happy to come way down because you know even if you hit your knee, you'll come back up.
Right.
Amazing. Why don't you kite back over there and then set it down. Love that, love that. So again, imagine that you do the worst thing ever and you over brake it and you get yourself a spin event. You're out of equilibrium. Your monkey will tell you that nothing good is gonna happen until you get upright. So you'll be doing all this bracing and pushing. That's what people do. We've seen it time and time again. People stall or spin the glider by accident. They're out of equilibrium, things are wild. Their hands go out to the side, the feet kick, and they're doomed to continue through hundreds of more feet. If they can find it in their heart to fix the posture, to look at the glider, to bring the elbows in, to give the glider what it needs, then that timeline can be changed dramatically. That's the memo here. If you're ever really out of equilibrium, step one, you don't hear it much, but fix the posture, look away from the hill. Don't worry about getting yourself back to equilibrium, because when you look at the glider and give it what it needs, sometimes it needs you to let off, sometimes it needs you to brake it, sometimes it needs one brake, sometimes it needs the other, sometimes you could be twisted. Give it what it needs, expect to fly away from the hill, and it'll happen.